Hey everyone, Kyle here from Poseidon's Pets. So today what I got for you is we are going to be scaping a new tank from F-Zone. So F-Zone reached out to me and they're like, hey, we have a few products. We wanted to see if you wanted to try them out, see how they are. So I figured I would do an unboxing for you guys and we'll do my first ever aquascape. So I am not an aquascapist. I am not very good at aquascaping. So I have a planted community tank and I have a 20-gallon shrimp tank that's aquascaped. So let's look at those real quick and then we'll do the unboxing. So this is my new Neo tank, and so my definition of aquascaping is I've got some moss floating and I got a couple rocks in there. So not the greatest aquascaper. Watched a few videos, got some inspiration, so I think this is going to be my best aquascape yet. But let's go check out the 60-gallon because that's a little bit more impressive. So this is my 60-gallon community tank, real basic stuff. Have some Vallisneria, have some Ludwigia, have some Anubias, some driftwood, plastic or ceramic ornaments, a little bit of accent rocks. So I stole some of the sand for this new setup, but as you can see, it's not terrible. It's not the worst aquascape ever. It's come along nicely, but I'm definitely excited for this new one and we'll see how it goes. Now, if you follow my channel, you know I am a shrimp keeper, but recently I tried a filterless setup, a filterless or no filter aquarium, and it's done pretty well. So these guys have been in here for quite a while. There's no shrimp in there. It's all snails, have some trapdoor snails, some spike tail snails. So they're gonna get an upgrade. We're gonna unbox this tank. We're gonna scape it, drip acclimate these guys to the tank, and I think I'm gonna add a couple Neos in there and see how they do. But let's see how this tank looks. Let's get it unboxed and get it scaped. Let's get to it. So I really like the construction of this thing. It is a floating rimless aquarium as they describe it. So this would be a great office tank. It would be great for a kitchen, or you know, if you have an apartment or a dorm room or somewhere where you don't have a lot of space. This thing is basically an 8-inch cube. It's 7.87 inches by 7.87 inches by 7.87 inches. So it's a perfect cube, which is a nice tank to scape, I think. Like I said, I'm not an aquascaper, but I'm gonna throw this guy up here on the rack for now until I can figure out what I'm going to do with it. But I may move it to like the kitchen, or I may leave it in here, or I may make a separate spot on the rack for it. We'll see what happens, but I'm excited to get this thing scaped and see if I've learned anything over the last couple months of watching some aquascape videos. But let's get to it. Let's get some snails in here, get some scape in here, and see how it turns out. I was super excited for my first real aquascape. I just did a little bit of a hill there in the back, and then we used this dragonstone for texture. So the plants I chose was just some basic crypts, some cryptocorns that I had sitting in a tank. I got some cryptocorn winded eye brown, probably some lucens, just a few that probably don't have an ID. And then I used some pointed spear moss and some spiky moss because I had a bunch of that in the grow out. But I feel for my first real aquascape, this turned out really nice. I like the depth to it. I like the little grading I have with the hill. I love how those pieces of stone are super sharp, so it looks great. Good for my first time. Now that we got everything in there, let's go ahead and throw it up top, and hopefully nothing falls over. We're gonna drip water back into it slowly so that way we don't disturb any of the plants or the sand, and we'll see how it goes. So let's check this out. I filled it up with no shifting, so a little bit of the sand started to slide down, but it looks good. You can see that grading there in the back. I'm gonna go ahead and temperature acclimate some of these snails. What we have in here is some spiky tail snails. I've got a few ram's horns, and then there should be a trapdoor snail in there somewhere. Didn't quite see it, but you know, now that those guys are temperature acclimating, I'm gonna grab some of my Neos, so my Neocaridina shrimp from my mixed Neo tank. A lot of these are some wild colors, so some clears, some browns, some light greens, but we're gonna get those guys dripping into the tank, get them temperature acclimated as well, and then toss them in. But the snails are ready, so let's go ahead and release them into their new home, and I'm hoping that they really like this. As those plants kind of break down, as the biofilm starts to build, they'll be able to munch away. Same with these shrimp. So the shrimp and the snails are gonna love it in here, and they'll do okay together. You know, the spike tail snails, the shrimp, they're not gonna hurt each other, so they're gonna do well in this little aquarium, and I'm super excited to see how well they do. But you can see them coming down into their new home. Like I said, they're gonna absolutely love it. We'll top it off with some duckweed and some Salvinia minima, and then we're good to go. Let's see how these guys like their new home. So it doesn't look too bad. We're gonna go ahead and let that settle for a little bit, let them kind of settle in, give them a day or two, and then I'll drop some food in there. We'll see if we can get the shrimp and the snails to swarm on the food, and hopefully everything does okay. You know, there is no filter in this tank, so we're just going off of the biological life that's in the sand from the 60 gallon. So there's a reason I used sand, was because it has all that ecological life in it. It's got all the little microflora and fauna, so I'm hoping that it, you know, the bioload of the few shrimp and the snails in this tank doesn't cause any problems, but we'll see how it goes. So we'll give these guys a few days and then we'll come right back. So to the future. So it's been a few days, these guys are all settled in and they're ready for their first taste of food. So I just dropped in some Complete Envy from Shrimp Envy. You know, the shrimp and the snails absolutely go crazy for it. So we're gonna go ahead and let these guys munch away. But what's really cool is this video is done in a 16 times time lapse. So you can see the snails really going to town on this chunk of food. But if you look closely at the shrimp, if you look closely at the snails, you can actually see the food entering into their bodies and seeing how it's processed. But definitely cool scene to watch. But after looking at these guys under the macro lens, I was really surprised to see the colors of these Neos, because when you look at a Neocaridina shrimp that has been in a mixed colony, you know, you start to see all kinds of weird things happen. So you're gonna get some rillies, you're gonna get some clear shrimp, you're gonna get some brown shrimp, you're gonna get some light black shrimp. So this was a mix between my black rose, blue dreams, and red cherry shrimp. And you can see that looks like a green jade. So there on the left, it looks like a green jade Neo. It's not the highest quality green jade, it's more like a low grade blue dream, but it's definitely cool to see the different types of shrimp that come when you mix a few shrimp together. So I love Neocaridinas because they are very prolific and they could virtually live in anything. So these guys live in my terrible tap water up to 1200 TDS. So if you're looking for a hardy shrimp and you have super hard water, go ahead and get yourself some Neocaridinas. They'll definitely pretty much live in anything. We're gonna go ahead and let them enjoy their little snack, and then we'll be right back with you. All right, so I think they like their new tank. I'm really liking this aquascape, and it was a lot of fun to do. So definitely thank you, F-Zone, for helping me out with the tank and giving me the opportunity to do my first aquascape and to try the tank out. If you guys want to get your own, I'll leave a link in the description below, but also I'll leave a card above. So go ahead and click that, check them out. They've got all kinds of stuff on their Amazon shop, so definitely some good stuff. But thank you guys so much for watching. If this is your first time to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. That way you're notified of all my future content. You can see my future aquascapes. You can see all of my shrimpy content. But thank you to my regulars. Thank you to everybody who watches my videos all the time. You guys are amazing. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye.